conducting himself like a knucklehead on a couple of occasions.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Welcome back to the Chase Brewster Show. I am your host, Chase Brewster. Today we have a very special guest, someone who I am very happy to call a friend, someone who has made the state of Arkansas better on the collegiate side. It's someone who, when I think about the young coaches that are growing the game and kind of next up to be the next head coach somewhere soon, hopefully, a very good friend of mine, SAU assistant coach, Jacob Caples. How are you, Coach?
Man, it feels good. It's quite the introduction there.
That's what everybody says.
You got me feeling good about it right now.
You guys have worked hard, and you earned it, and you guys are coming off a huge season, so congratulations on that. Recently playing in the World Series last year at SAU, and I know you guys are working hard this fall, so super excited for you guys and Coach Pettigrew and all those guys. So, you've earned it, and I'm actually a little bit older than you, but getting to watch you what feels like grow up on the scene in Arkansas, it's exciting. We're very appreciative for everything you've done for the players in Arkansas.
Man, the SAU has won for a long time. I've gotten to coach in Arkansas for a while now, so it's nothing new to the program. The World Series, we finally got back there, and finally for the first time in the Division II NCAA era. But they've won for a long time. There's a lot of championships on the board. It's something that we pride ourselves on, is winning a lot. And so, when I got to come in for my first year last year after leaving Little Rock, the success was already there. The team was ready to go. We were hungry, and we got it done. So it was really good.
You talk about the success and the history and how, obviously, he's a friend of both of us, but how intimidating is it at times when you walk on Steve Goodhart Field and Steve's there at a lot of practices and games, and just – the one thing I love about SAU is the alumni.
Yeah.
We can talk Division I and all this stuff, but the pride, the Jonathan Orrs or the Kyle Slaytons, of guys that played there, that know down to the last player on the roster, know what you guys did. Just talk a little bit about kind of the success requirement, almost, that it feels like they'll let you know when things aren't good. And Coach Pettigrew's been around for a long time. He knows better than anybody. You've got an athletic director, Steve Browning, who won his fair share of games there. But it's a very unique situation, and maybe outside of the University of Arkansas, the most prestigious program in the state, and just some real legends. So talk about that kind of every day, how you guys go to practice and go to play games, and what I'm assuming feels like enormous pressure to keep that going.
Yeah. First thing, I've gotten to spend time in other dugouts in the conference, and been around the state of Arkansas. So when I came in here, or when I was interviewing with Coach Pettigrew for the job, that was the first thing when Coach Pettigrew called me. I was like, man, you guys have won for a long time. I felt it from opposing dugouts the same way. And, it almost has that kind of like Yankees vibe at sometimes whenever you're playing against Southern Arkansas. Like someone, you feel like you have to play really good baseball when you're playing them, and then being in the dugout and being a part of the program, like you talk about the alumni support of Jonathan Orr and Slayton, some of those other guys, it really runs deep. We really saw it in our super regional game against Augustana. I've gotten to coach at a lot of other places, but it felt just as packed as some of those other places that I played at or coached at too. And the community supports us. The university supports it. The alumni support it. We have a lot of really good ex-players, alumni who, honestly, like Riley Orr, his dad played here back in the day. Riley Orr is doing it at shortstop for us now. Was a third-team All-American last year, no honorable mention All-American last year. And so it's awesome to see that bloodline continue to go. But, yeah, you come to a game, you'll see Jonathan Orr and those guys that coach down the sideline, coaches Riley's dog. They'll be down there hanging out. We need to have more bark at the park nights maybe. But, success in the program's been awesome. Coach Browning's won. Coach Pettigrew's won. Coach Goodhart, who's always at all of our practices. He's sitting in the stands at inter squads, kind of intimidating sometimes in a way because, you're obviously his name's on the field and he's won all those games and stuff, but he's around shaking hands and he's as part of it, as anybody is. And that's one thing about SAU that I think is so special. And I'm still trying to I feel like I'm somewhere on the road recruiting or doing something, and someone, will come up to me and be like, oh, an SAU guy, my buddy played at SAU, this guy, or, hey, I was at SAU back in the day, or so. I mean, it's so deep. The tree runs, the roots run so far. And so, yeah, the tradition runs deep here.
There's been a lot of names mentioned already, and I think what's most important is, like, they're all great people. Like the Jonathan Orrs, the Kyle Slaves, the Scott Minis, the Tommy Stewarts, like just some of the greatest people you'll ever be around, and guys that I'm thankful to know. And a lot of the players we've had go there have all been great people, even like a Riley Kohler, a Hayden Hable, like really good people.
Yes.
And even the in-between gap, the Jansen Carrs of the world and the Eric Whites. So, Coach Pettigrew, P's been a friend to me, and it's just been a joy to watch him have a lot of success, and obviously you too. So, Coach Goodhart's a legend. Like, love being around Coach, and it's a long way from Coach Goodhart to Coach P, and a lot of history in between. But I'm blessed to call all you guys friends, and I really appreciate everything you guys do for the state of Arkansas.
Oh yeah, likewise, man. And I missed Coach Stewart as well. So he's got, I think, one of the longest hit records. I don't want to misquote the tweet now and missay the big leaguer, but we have actually a picture in our office of Coach Stewart on the side of our office for his long hit streak that he had. And then he also, Coach Brett McGee, who's been a long-time catcher for us, he has a chance to break the Great American Conference home run record this year. And he sent us Braden Duff and more. Braden Duff's a freshman who's an outfielder who played for him, who's going to be special too. So, that tree's going to continue to run deep, and the alumni are going to get deeper. And but also
having Tommy coach with us now has been great. Tommy's really and those guys know right from wrong, obviously, but they know the bar. Like, and the bar doesn't move. It doesn't move for good players. It doesn't move for quote unquote down years. The bar is what the bar is, and I'm forever thankful to have those guys around me, because it's easy to move that bar. And playing the World Series last year, that felt like a normal year. The other years felt like chasing the ghost, probably, I'm assuming. And those guys, man, Tommy Richardson, another one, great friend of mine. All those guys that played for Coach Goodhart, like I feel
like we have to stop and go back through this. Tommy Richardson, Will Richardson's on our roster. Jacob Richardson, friend of mine too. Played Sticks, Coach Sticks, right, or Coach Sticks.
Oh yeah.
Like he's that's another one. I know I'm missing more too. SAU is so deep. I'm lucky to be a part of it and be here. But yeah, it doesn't. We could probably sit here for about 2 hours and just go through everybody. I feel like I'm missing somebody now. I feel bad about it, but
I don't feel bad, because we've named off the guys organically. And guys that mean a lot to me, and I think it's hopefully we're averaging like 1,000 views right now episode. So hopefully some of the 1,000 guys that tuned in to watch this, it'll be the Jacob Richardsons and the the Orrs and the Slates. So we want to make sure they get the credit they deserve, and also Coach Browning, and his son playing with us, and Cade and all that. So we wish you guys nothing but the best this year. Obviously, a couple Sticks guys in the lineup, so I'm hoping the best for you guys, but. Let's kind of turn courses a little bit. Jacob Caples' story is an interesting one. Grew up in Dallas area, right? Is that
Houston area.
Okay, Houston elite kid, I think, actually.
Yeah.
Think about it. West Texas, ended up out in West Texas to play collegiately, and then your coaching career kind of took off, and you called Arkansas home for a long time. So if somebody was watching that didn't know who you were, kind of give them the Jacob Caples story in a nutshell for me.
Yeah, so you're right there. I played junior college baseball at Western Texas Junior College, and then transferred to West Texas A&M. Coaching started for me. I decided I wanted to go play one more summer, and so I went up and played in the summer. There just so happened to be 3 players on that team at Arkansas Monticello. They lost their graduate assistant at the time. Then I was like, hey, I really want to coach. They got me over there. I ended up starting my coaching career for John Harvey. I coached for Coach Harvey when in 16 was my first year. We were 40-18 then. We had a really good year. The player of the year, and Corey Wood, really good player. We had him. And then as coach, we won the conference. And then we went to one game away from going to the World Series there. And then in 17, coached again, was a GA as well. And then in 18, Coach Harvey became the athletic director. Then when he became the athletic director, I was fortunate enough for him to go, hey, I want to keep you on here. We figured out how to make things work. Coached for him in 18 as well. And then in 19, I went to I got a job out in Texas, getting out of the state of Arkansas, get back to the roots. I got a job in Texas for a semester at Tarleton State. Things didn't work out there. And then, this story of friendships in Arkansas and how this thing runs deep actually started going. When that didn't work out, Noah Sanders was like, hey, Noah played at UAM. And so we were able to, obviously communicate over the years, the conventions and, asking him questions and stuff. And he was like, hey, we have a spot here at Little Rock. Then I met Coach Curry, and Coach Curry interviewed me, and then I went in there for that job. And then Noah really picked me up at a time where, things weren't so great. And I owe Noah just about everything. I owe Coach Curry just about everything. And this thing couldn't have continued to go without those two people. And so I coached there. I started basically over almost at the GA role at Little Rock. And then I became the volunteer assistant for the next 2 years right after that. And then after my second year of volunteering, it's kind of that time to finally, go try to get a paycheck or go do something. And then then Coach Pettigrew was fortunate enough with a guy named Craig Perry, who is the hitting coach here, called me and said, hey, SAU's open. Would you be interested? Coach Pettigrew called me, and then the rest is kind of history. So it's a lot of stuff in between that. And a lot of names that I mentioned who are, Arkansas great coaches.
Sure.
But, yeah, the state keeps pulling me back, and I've been fortunate enough to be here at Southern Arkansas.
So, obviously, those are some huge names, and we love Noah. I had Noah on the show already, and can't thank Noah enough. Noah actually skipped your wedding to come to my wedding. So
he did.
We talked about that. And I hate we got married on the same day because
honestly, though,
fans from your wedding, but –
I know you and I aren't picking the dates, and we aren't picking the colors or anything, so it's not really our deal. We should have communicated a little bit, but at least someone wanted to marry us both. So at the end of the day, that's a positive for me.
So that is the one thing that we have going, that people had to split between our wedding. I'm not getting married again. I don't know about you, so that'll forever be installed on my end. So,
I'm done.
But Noah was a legend, and we love you, Noah, if you see this. But Noah's side, and Noah's a legend, but those are real legends when you talk about John Harvey, head coach of Monticello, Chris Curry, the best speaker I've ever seen in person. And
let me tell you something about Coach Curry.
Legends.
Coach Curry commands a room. Coach Curry can, that is someone that, I never forget being a pro performance and giving his first speech. And just elite when it comes to commanding a room. Very, very good.
The thing about Coach Curry is almost a shame is unfortunately in college baseball, everybody's not painting with the same brush. Everybody doesn't have the same utensils and equipment and materials and what those guys, and you were a part of it, have done at the Rock is extremely impressive.
Yeah.
And it's almost a shame. They're like, hey, if you drop them in a Power 5 with an unlimited budget and, the best assistant coaches in the country and the weight room or whatever, I have no doubt that he would compete for a conference championship. He is remarkable when it comes to letting people do their job. And I tweeted this out when Noah got named associate head coach. Everybody was happy for Noah, nobody more than me. But, props to Chris Curry. Chris didn't have to do that. Chris didn't have to name an associate coach. Probably more, all pride and ego aside, probably more of a hassle for him to do it. So I think it's very important to give coaches a shout out every time it comes up because he wants Arkansas baseball to be better. He's a Conway native, and we appreciate everything he does if he happens to see this as well.
Yeah, those guys, and especially at Little Rock too. Yeah, they're almost like the best people for that too, in a sense. They're, they have a ton of grit. They're not going to let that become an excuse. You know what I'm saying? And to me, it's easy for programs or people to get complacent in the sense of this is what we have. This is what, it is what it is. We can just be okay with what we have, and they're not going to be that way. Coach Curry is going to continue to build that place up. If you look at it in the past, 3 years, now the walls are padded. It continues to get improved. I've seen Coach Curry on the ground level. He's working that himself. He's trying to get as many people behind him and backing him. And Coach Rose is a huge part of that as well with the Highland Dairy, getting that thing going. Noah's on the ground floor, getting all that stuff done. I mean, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to make that place better. But even when it wasn't, they have the grit and the ability to get those guys playing at the level they need to be good in the Sun Belt. Now they're moving over conferences, but it's not going to be a surprise to me when they run that conference. So you're 100% right. It's been a lot of good coaches to go through there, and you got to have a level of grit to you, and they have it.
Yeah, they never complain. Like in all the years I've been around Noah, I mean, it's never what we don't have. It's what can we get? What can we do to position ourselves with this school? Like we don't want to be like, he can go play there, or he's a D2 player, or he's a it's hey, let's go get the best players, and if they don't want to come here, let's move on to the next group of great players. So John Harvey is somebody I got to know personally this summer with Brooks playing. Brooks is that undersized shortstop that's a true gamer, and just like Daddy, I think plays with hair on fire and just gets after it, man. And so I'm forever thankful for my relationship with John. But John and Pettigrew seem like the complete opposite. I don't know if that's true because I don't go to war with them. But tell me how it was going from being with Coach Harvey, who was kind of figuring things out at the time. I mean, Monticello, which they were winning in 16, but he kind of like brought new life back into that program. They were like 0-1,000 before he got there. And talk about just being with Coach Harvey and then coming over to across the enemy tracks to SAU and Mule Rider Blue and Gold, and how it is working for Coach Pettigrew.
Yeah, so I mean, this is actually kind of funny because on the outside in, if you're sitting outside on the stands, you think they're completely different people, but they're really not at the end of the day. Coach Harvey, I'm here talking with you. You wanted to, obviously speak with me, which is awesome. And I said pretty much any time, and honestly, any job that I get or any accomplishment I ever make in this game, I text Coach Harvey. Because it was July when he gave me the GA job, and to me that's the most special thing. And then listening to Noah talk about Coach Harvey when he was on your podcast in that episode, all the things that he did for Noah too, it's really identical in a sense. Like Noah talked about the whole hey, where do you want to be in 5 years? And that, I mean, he asked me that same question too, and I was hungry and I really wanted to do something. He kind of gave me a roadmap and put me into reading, and I mean, threw me into a situation in which he was like, "Hey, like these are the hitters. Go coach them. I don't care if you fail. I don't care what you do. You work with them and you make them the best possible thing you can do. I'm not going to oversee it. I'm not going to I'll give you advice, but you go do it." And he let me fail and he let me learn. And we had successes and we had failures like any other year and any other group. But when I talk about the differences of the two people, Coach Harvey and Coach Pettigrew, they're really not at the end of the day. Coach Pettigrew is, on the hitting side, when it comes to some things, I'm pretty progressive. I mean, I'll be honest. We'll do a whole lot of stuff here. We have, a lot of tech and a lot of things that, a lot of different types of bats. We'll do a whole bunch here. Coach Harvey's the same way when it comes to that side of it. He's extremely progressive. He's forward thinking. He wants to try to be on top of things. When it comes to what I think everybody sees on the outside is probably more like the competitive side is just more like you see it more. You see more fire, I think, in Coach Pettigrew. Coach Harvey has the same thing. I worked out with him at noon every day when I was over there at UAM, and I'm telling you, it made you feel like you were nothing in those workouts. He put me to shame. So they're both competitive. They're both great coaches. I work for Coach Pettigrew now here, obviously, and he's really built a good program too since 2018 and taken over. He's incredibly passionate. He lets me work. It's one of my favorite people too that I've been able to work for. He, hey, what's the practice plan? What are we doing? What are we hitting? What guy's moving? You be the best possible coach. Use whatever I can give you to help you do your job. And he let me run. And, that's the people that I honestly need to probably work for. I was honest with him that in my interview process. I just want to be a part of a family and a good culture. And then if you allow me to work, I will do my best to give you the best product I possibly can when it comes to team. And, I would Coach Pettigrew a lot too. I say about Coach Curry and Coach Harvey and all of them, Noah, Coach Pettigrew too. I was ready for a full-time position after leaving Little Rock, and I really wanted something. I was honest in my interview with him. I really wanted a family. I wanted a good culture. And, our office is probably one of the, top to bottom when it comes to the head coach. This is one of my favorite staffs I've ever been a part of. We got Coach Anderson, who's our pitching coach. We got 2 really good younger guys, too, Coach Ben, and then Coach Kobe Morris, too, who played third base for us, played at Alabama. He has a pedigree, and he played here his senior year. And we operate really well together as a coaching staff, and I think, honestly, that helps the players, too, because now the players see us and how we're going and how we operate as a group, and then they equally go that way, too. So, it's long-winded, but –
The thing about SAU is, those staffs seem to stay together forever. Coach Anderson's been there since I've been around, I think, and he was there with Coach Browning when I first got there, and obviously Coach Browning's now the AD. So it's a good place because college baseball is very dirty behind the scenes and a lot of turnover at times. So to have that security of, hey, you treat people right and we'll treat you right is really a blessing and something I know you guys probably appreciate with such a good administration.
No, I definitely appreciate it. I've seen, I have a lot of friends and obviously coached at good levels too, and I see how dirty it can be. And, sometimes too, how much I feel like other coaches may or may not enjoy their job and the people they work for. And, we talk about trying to climb the coaching ladder as high as you want to climb, right? But there comes a level of being extremely happy and working with the people that you want to work with every day because – that helps me give the best product I possibly can to our players because, the players run the program. The players are everything. And, conviction from the top down, that's what it is. Coach Pettigrew has built a great culture, not only with the team, amongst the coaches. And, it helps us work. It helps us, go home at night and can't wait to wake up in the morning to work with the guys too. So really fortunate on that side as well.
So you guys are coming off a huge year. There's been a lot of great years at SAU, but I don't know where in the top, but very, very big time year. Super happy for you guys. But tell me what it was like being at the World Series. Obviously, probably not a lot of people knew what to expect, kind of making it for the first time in this era for you guys. But just tell me what it's like. And obviously, I know it was a whirlwind, and it seems to be going as soon as you get there. No matter how many games you win, it's never long enough, even when you win it all. But take me through that experience a little bit and start at the Super Regional for me and kind of give the viewers, if they don't know much about kind of that winning stage of D2 baseball, give me the, some of the travel and just the accommodations, the whole grand poobah of going to the World Series and D2 baseball.
Yeah. So, it's, it didn't used to be this way, but they actually – knocked it down to where it's similar to the Division I format too, where you now have 2 regional sites, and then you have a super regional, and then you have the World Series. So this year, I think, was the first year since COVID. They tried before that, and this year was the first year they went back to it. We hosted a site, and Central Missouri hosted a site, and then things played out that way too. Ouachita was able to take Game 1 over Central Missouri. And then Central Missouri wasn't able to make it out of their regional. Augustana knocked them out later in that bracket. And then we went through our regional, thankfully pretty not easy, but we went through it, got through it, and then we hosted Super Regional at our place. That's 2 out of 3 games against Augustana. Augustana was returning a lot of a team that went to the World Series the year before. So they were going to come. They were come experienced. They felt like they had the confidence playing at our place, and we took Game 1 that night, and then actually in Game 2 we were down 6 runs in the 9th inning, and then we scored 7 in the top of the 9th because in Game 2 you're now the visitor as flops, and so we scored 7 runs in the top of the 9th to take the lead, and then our closer went out there and shut it down, and then we were dogpiling. So we got to go to the World Series then. Did it on our home field, which was huge for all the we talked about all the supporters and alumni who were out. That was an awesome day. One day I'll never forget that. Then we'll go to the World Series. The next year, the next week we fly out. We go to all as a group, I believe from Little Rock, fly out to Cary. The setup there was awesome. So you're at the USA Training Complex. There's 4 fields there, 1 game field, and you have a practice day, obviously like a typical tournament. I really like their setup too because it's every other day. So one day you're playing. The next day you're getting to experience things or do whatever you want. We went to the Durham Bulls game one night, and then you play again, and then you day off. And so we won Game 1. Jeremy Adorno went out there, did his thing. Connor Allen hit a big home run off a left-hander from UCF. That was a kickback there. He was really good. He was a first-team All-American with Jeremy Adorno as well. Went out there, won that game. Then we had in Game 2 we had Point Loma, California school, who's coming off an 11-win season the year before. came out there, played a tight game against them. We made some mistakes. You can't make mistakes at that level. And lost that one, and then played Rollins again in game 3. The team had played in game 1, and then lost that one by, I believe 2 runs. But, it was a whirlwind. Beautiful facilities, though. The field was absolutely amazing. And, the tournament was ran really well, honestly better than what I even thought it would be. They really put a lot of work into some of the outside things. Everybody's names on the wall. You walk in, there's so many cool little details. Everybody's flags hung up. You raise your flag when you come in for the World Series. That was a really cool touch. I mean, they really made the guys feel like it was the World Series. Is what I was really happy about, because the Division I, Division II, obviously you go through that route. But I mean, I was really happy with it. So
speaking of Division I, Division II, I never really put a lot of questions into this. I just kind of let it free flow. But one thing I wanted to ask you was, in the recruiting process, it's a dirty game, and kids are very naive. Tell me what a normal process for Coach Caples is when you're watching a kid play that you like, and it's the whole mentality right now is D1 or bust.
Yeah.
The schools that are recruiting them, y'all will run roll. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you guys are one of the best D2s in the country, and there's nothing wrong with being a Division II school. It is what it is. But the kids that don't have any concept of how good the baseball is at that level, tell me. It's a shame in my opinion, but I'll let you speak for yourself about the standard that has been kind of set between Division I and Division II baseball, and how it's basically not true would be my easiest way to put it.
Yeah, and I can't say I don't fault anybody too. In the recruiting process, I'll be honest with kids, I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to sit there and talk with them and try to sway them one way. You know what I mean? I get it all. More importantly, it's just like anything else. It's just relationships. So we're trying to build the best relationships we can with the best players that we possibly can. And, we feel like we should be on Division I players that want to play Division I baseball, that, have that mindset and that's where they want to go, or maybe even that ability too. And, we'll be on a lot of them, and we'll be, creating relationships, be out there. And, the teams too here, eventually over time, we get them down for a visit. They watch a game. They see how, the community supports it, the family and the culture. And, a lot of times, too, they'll make the decision to come to us as well. But, it can be a dirty game and stuff. But, I wouldn't even consider it too honestly dirty, because obviously the Division I's in the state are all really, really good programs, too. But, when it comes to the Arkansas kids, a lot of them, at least know us, too. And there's a lot of kids we had a fall league just today, and they're talking about other programs too that aren't just the bigger Division I schools. There's good baseball, like you said, at the Division II level. We have a lot of really good players, but so does all the other schools in our conference. And some of the JUCO kids or high school kids want to go Division I, and a lot of times too they hold or maybe wait, but then it just doesn't work out. And at that point too, by all means, I completely understand, and I tell them that in the relationship process. Now, there's other things that come with it when it comes to scholarship money or something that we may have earlier than later if you wait, obviously, and that it's the thing too that we talk about. But it's just all it really is about relationships and recruiting. It really is. Kids are going to want to kind of go where they are, and you just got to make them feel like it's home. And that's what we try to do. And I tell kids in the recruiting process that when you come here, I want you to feel like you want to play for the Mule Riders, like you wanted to come put on this shirt. We're going to be a target. We, like you say, we are one of the better programs in the state, and so everybody wants to beat us, and everybody's going to bring out their best game, and it's part of it. You gotta love this program. You gotta love the tradition. You gotta love the culture. You gotta love the people that came before you, and you gotta love playing with that target. And if you do, you'll play for a long time here, and you'll really enjoy yourself. But that's not for everybody too. So and that's fine.
Well, and I didn't mean just the state, because the state does have, obviously, and there's great programs everywhere, but I just meant across the country, and some is we're a part of that problem as the Sticks, but, unfortunately, I think it's not something, social media is so great, and there's all this content, and there's this knowledge, but it's still so naive how physical people are through even video. Like I remember a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, we had this very good player, and P had offered him or whatever, and the dad was like, well, I just think we're better than that. And I had just watched you guys play Augustana in the Super Regionals, the year that the closer had never given up an earned run, first batter hits a home run on the softball field, Jacob hits one like 1,000 exit velo. that got out in like 3 seconds. And I'm like, and I literally told this kid's dad, I was like, he won't play there for like his first 2 years. Like physically, he's got no shot. These are all Division I athletes. Like whether they play what an X amount of level or whatever. And I just think it's a shame for the guys that have a good weight system like you guys, for the guys that have great travel set up, for the guys that have real organizational in their programs like Monticello, like Henderson, because there are programs that we both know don't do it right. But you guys put so much emphasis in the behind the scenes that when you step on the field, it's almost easy, at least from afar. So I know it's a real thing, and I hate that for you guys, but obviously you seem to make it work, and you can look up and down that roster, and a lot of guys have went Division I and come back. So
and they've done that too. And another thing, even added to that as well, like if they there's something to be said that if they had that mindset, then probably we're winning that deal. Then not coming here. You know what I'm saying? Like that keeps the culture right. The players, like this year, for example, we're senior loaded. We have a lot of seniors. We have a lot of guys who played here through COVID. I mean, we have like 5-6 year seniors this year. And they're so protective of the culture. A small thing that feels wrong to them, they'll correct it. And so that includes the new group that you bring in, right? And so, when it comes to those guys too, if they're not bought in and they're not sold out, those guys will, jump on it too. So, it part of the game, man. It really is. But, sometimes you dodge bullets when it comes to that kind of stuff too.
So we talked about this year to be a senior heavy, guys righting the wrongs. How much pressure, how much is it talked about to get back to Cary this year and get back to the World Series?
Man, I'll be honest with you, none. Like it was kind of like last year. So the year before I got here, they were one game away from making to the World Series that year too. And it wasn't, I mean, we just have goals. Like to be honest with you, we're half the time we're not even playing our opponent. We're just playing ourselves. So, like we have goals where it's one step every day or every, thing that we click, we're trying to win a conference championship. Once that goal's clicked, we're just looking ahead to that goal. Goal 2, conference tournament, win the conference tournament. Goal 3, go to a regional. Goal 4, win the Super. Goal 5, get to the World Series. But if you're always chasing that goal of getting to the World Series, you're looking past all the small little steps, and you just won't get there because other teams are good enough. The Henderson States and Techs and Monticellos and all those schools, they'll beat you. If you're looking ahead of them. And so, honestly, when it comes to getting back to the World Series, I think there's a want to go improve ourselves. Obviously, we talk about it a lot about just getting there. We are hungry. We want to get back. We know we have the team to win the whole thing. But we won't look a single step ahead. If you play us on the field, you'll be getting our best that game. And so, honestly, it doesn't feel like there's pressure to get back there, which is good. And that speaks to the culture of the players too, because we're a pretty player-led group as well. And so they'll they won't talk about, hey, we won't do this when we get to the World Series. They'll talk about, hey, we won't do this, we won't win. We won't win a series. And so that's a special thing too.
So as good as the roster is at SAU and as much success there is, that's not the most impressive thing you've ever done on your resume. And something I'm very jealous about is the fact that you've got the coach in the Cape Cod the last couple summers.
Yeah.
So talk about how you have literally the best view in the house from the best athletes and collegiate baseball players in the country every night. So tell me what it's like coaching in the Cape, obviously the talent and just the first-class experience, the Northeast lifestyle, the weather. Just give me the full rundown about coaching in the Cape Cod in the summer and what program you've been with.
Yeah, once again, I wouldn't have gotten to go there if it wasn't for Coach Curry. Coach Curry, I'm there my first year, and, Coach Scott Pickler, who he played for, who's an absolute coaching legend in California and even in the Cape. And so, I can't even say how old he is. I don't even know, to be honest with you. But he's been doing it for a long time. But Coach Curry, got me up there to YD Red Sox. This past summer I spent my second year there. And my first year we had Austin Wells, who was the first-round draft pick for the New York Yankees on that team. I'm a catching guy by trade, so I was working with the catchers. Carson Taylor, who's 14th round by the Dodgers out of Virginia Tech. So we had those guys working with every day. And on the team, too, we had a lot of other good ones. This past summer, we had Braden Montgomery, who's Stanford two-way guy, 97 off the bump, and then also 4-hole right-handed switch hitter. Colt Carrick. We have a lot of really good players, and the whole league is talented. The coaches are all Hall of Famers, and the coaches are all coaching legends and greats. You get a little bit of the grind too with it, though. It's not all they don't all roll out the red carpet like maybe some other people think. Everybody plays on a high school field. It's yellow school buses to your games. I was blown away to it my first time being up there, but yellow school buses to the games. With coaches, we sometimes ride on there. We'll drive separately. But yeah, we'll play 9-inning games every night. One night off a week, and it turns into a little bit of a grind, but it's beautiful up there. So you're obviously in a vacation spot. There's a little bit of a joke sometimes amongst the coaches, like, hey, like, is there actually water here? Hey, did you guys know there's water here? Because we're working. It's scouting reports. It's synergy. It's looking through big time information on guys trying to get an edge. Those coaches up there who may have been doing it for a long time, they want to win. And they're some of the most hungry human beings I've ever met when it comes to wins. Those games get heated. They're honestly GMs at times too, with players coming in and out of there. But I was fortunate enough my first year we made it to the semifinals, and then this year we lost in the semis as well too. We're one game away from best out of 3 set in the playoffs, and almost made it to the championship. That would have been a cool ring to have. Would have had to frame that one for sure.
I think the Braves won it this year because Evan Slight was on the Braves. He played with us.
They did.
So we actually had alumni on both sides this year in the finals. So that was cool, and it's crazy to watch those kids like after they leave us and go play in the Cape, and you look up and obviously we know some of the coaches, we know the players, and it feels like a different foreign country, and it's like the fields aren't very nice, but they are. It's like it's just weird.
Yeah.
But at the core, it's like the beauty of baseball too. Like,
yes.
And I know Montgomery a little bit. His agent's a very good friend of mine, and like the fact that he rides on a school bus now to games, and he's a multi-million-dollar guy, just like spread out with the blanket, like on the destination. And there's a beauty in that, and I think it's great, really.
Yeah, I don't think people realize. Everybody's like, when a conversation comes up or they talk to me about it, they're like, oh, you go babysit those guys, and I'm like, man, you don't realize how hungry those guys are, how much they actually want to work. They may be like Braden Montgomery may be a first rounder, but he was in the cages early working. He was at our kids camp getting after it, or he would come up throwing a bullpen. Colt Carrick and Mike Bove, 2 guys that I absolutely grew to love. That's another one we should kind of watch out for is Colt Carrick. He's a switch hitting center fielder, shortstop, catcher, everything. And he also pitches. He does everything. And, he's out there taking ground balls and doing it. Gavin, my first year, Gavin Dugas, who's over, I'm probably saying that wrong, probably Dugas, but he's over at LSU. He was out there every day taking ground balls with our infield coach. Every day. Those players are hungry. Like, it isn't just, hey, sit on a bucket, clap your hands, write a lineup. Hey, coach, thanks, I appreciate it. It's, hey, what time are we working? 10? Yeah, we just got home at 7. Like those, I try to tell people, those guys, they don't take it for granted either. They get after it. So
tell me the biggest thing you've taken away from the Cape.
Honestly, probably that. My first year, we had Austin Wells, and Austin actually, tied to Arkansas. He was kind of frustrated at the time that he wanted to, go to Team USA, as a lot of those other guys do. And Casey Opitz got the nod, and he was a little bit frustrated, but he worked with the chip on his shoulder every day, and he needed to get a little bit better receiving, and he was there every day. He would set up the machine. A first rounder setting up the machine is crazy. He didn't know he was a first rounder at the time, probably, but. He's out there setting up the machine, getting after it. And, that to me is always one of those things to where, the 1%, because they're probably the 1% considered, how talented they are, is out there working every single day. And their work ethic is absolutely some of the greatest I've ever seen. Everybody honestly should be that way too. So probably takeaway, one, the talent, the coaches. I've learned a whole lot from Coach Scott Pickler. So much, but probably the takeaway is how actually hard the players worked at that talent level. They weren't just hey, I'm really good, I'm better than you. It was, no, I got to be better than now this guy. This is going to be my job one day. So that was really good to see.
You ever think about how amazing it is you'll see kids like that, and like Austin Wells, Montgomery, those guys? They'll be the hardest working guys, and then we'll come back and we'll see these kids that think they're good players, and Like,
Yeah.
they never want to practice, or when they do play catch, they play it 80 feet. They throw it, every other ball's over their partner's head, and then anyway, it's just all. We could have a whole nother podcast about that. But everybody always goes, "Hey, who's the most talented person you've ever seen?" I say Jason Jones. I mean, for Texas Center. But let me tell you, Jason Jones is probably the hardest working player, like ever, like we've ever had. I mean, as far as I know. And Jason's playing first base right now for the Razorbacks, and I go, yeah, it's probably easy for him. Like he's picked so many ground balls at shortstop to get better, to try to prove he's not a third baseman, that it's probably an easy practice day for Jason Jones to go pick balls at first. Like, and I just think sometimes kids think they're working hard, and then you look at guys like Austin Wells and Montgomery, these guys that are first round talent, setting up the machine, and picking up the last ball, and first one to practice. It's baffling sometimes that. And
you see it all the time too. Even like just people don't understand how good it is, and that just ties back into recruiting as well. Like, hey, like I can play for you, or hey, I got a player for you, or whatever it is. And it's like, come to an SAU baseball game, come watch our conference play. I mean, when we strap it up and it's Friday night in our conference, like both arms are really, really talented.
Sure.
The players on the field are really, really talented. And I think that goes from the Cape all the way down. Like people don't realize how good players actually are. And they don't understand how strong of a work ethic they actually have. So you're 100% right.
So you've coached in Division I, you coached in Division II, you've coached in the Cape. Give me the biggest difference in that Division I level and Division II.
Probably the amount of tools and the pitching, I would say, from top to bottom for the most part. Like Division II, our top guys are starters. I mean, Hayden Hable, Arkansas 6 guy who I think actually can, I think the world of Hayden. I think he can start for us this year too. I mean, he's got stuff. I mean, he's really good. When it gets down to it, at Little Rock or, being in the Division I level, it's like their 10th guy is still probably 88, 90 with the slider for the most part, especially in the Sun Belt. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Where you get down to it in our bullpen, it gets a little bit thinner when it comes to the type of stuff. It may be a really good pitcher, but, it may get a little bit thinner with stuff. I think pitching is a big deal too, and then maybe the number of tools. And that's one thing I really loved about the Division II level and coming back here was, I'm pretty confident myself as a guy who can coach hitters. And so I felt like, we can take guys with their tools and hopefully we can develop the offensive side or develop whatever it is that needs to be developed. And so probably the amount of tools, maybe it's a run tool and a bat tool or power tool at at Little Rock or wherever you may go. Maybe for here it's just a power tool. And so we need to make, maybe get them to throw it a little bit better, or, maybe a little bit baseball IQ, get them to throw ground balls, know what he's trying to do or something. I think probably the amount of tools when it comes to offense, but, as a team level, I think the hitters can be pretty similar when it comes to the lineup you have. I mean, our lineup can be pretty similar, but the amount of pitching probably is the biggest difference.
For sure. Well, a lot of times strength as well, because like Hayden Hable at 22 years old could pitch at any 4-year school. Like he's stronger, but he wouldn't get those reps he wouldn't get those reps as a baby fat youngin at a 4-year school. So
Hayden Hable came in here throwing 80, 82, I think, and he's really ramped it up since then. But you're 100% right on the strength side of things too. Guys come in, they're not maybe so developed, and need to get in the weight room. And too, that a lot of the pitchers will target maybe some guys who have shown to throw the ball hard but need a weight room. And can have a little bit more time here than they would maybe somewhere else. But, that's another good thing about the Arkansas JUCOs right now, too. It's a whole other beast we haven't talked about. But they can, now Arkansas kids have a place to go as well, so which is huge.
Well, Coach Spider, Coach Adcock, and those guys, Coach Rockwell, I mean, they're doing a great job. And man, it's at times feels oversaturated, but it's giving more kids a chance to play baseball. And that's what life's all about in my life, anyway. It's a good thing if everybody has a chance to play baseball, in my opinion. And those guys will get a chance to get bigger and stronger. So we appreciate all the guys out there that they're making Arkansas baseball better at the junior college level.
Oh, they're going to be good too. And Coach Kenan Lester's another one. SAU great.
I forgot about
SAU
that.
great.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of them. You didn't forget about them. It's just there's so many. But Coach Lester's another. Meal Rider, great too.
I just saw where they had maybe it's week they had like 6 guys 88, 90 or better. Maybe this week that threw. Got Gage Bellatti's one of our guys over there. I think, and Trace Suit maybe is another one. There are 2 of their frontline guys. So Cannon does a really, really, really good. I'll tell you a funny Cannon story one time. one time I go watch Cannon play. I go watch El Dorado play Arkansas High, right? And I love Cannon, but they're playing, and like this was the year, like it was the year before COVID. It was 19, and I had went to like 77 games that year. They took the best in and out of any team I'd ever seen. Every player was dressed immaculate. Every back pocket was tucked in. Every wrist tape was perfect. The greatest in and out. And Braylon Bishop struck out like 1,000 people. It didn't matter. Like, so I text Canton a message, and I'm like, look, I've been in a lot of games this year. This was by far the best. Like, he was the best coach team I've seen. 100%.
Yes. Yeah.
He was so mad I sent the message because they got beat. And they got, like, dominated, like 2-0 or something, but, like, had no hits. And I'm like, Coach, they just have better players. There's nothing that you can do about that. Like, Braylon's just better than everybody. But you guys did everything you could. And so, Cannon, if you see this, we love you, man. And we know that little things matter to you. As people don't really know this about me, but I'm one of those guys that little things matter a lot. And so I took a lot of pride in watching Cannon and those guys do that. So he had a big-time career for the Mule Riders as well. And I believe his brother did too. So we know they'll have a big year at South Park over there.
Both did.
What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
No, he has a lot of records here, a lot of them. So
Beeson does too, I think.
Yeah,
Beeson,
I mean they all do.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing how many records are left. Like they all have multiple records, and they're all just like records. Like there's a lot to go around.
Yes.
So as we wrap this up, man, I call Chapter 1 the why, and the why for me was, just to kind of be a part of change, like, and whatever that is, I want to be a part of it as I get older. You're a guy who I look at and I appreciate and I admire because, like, hey, the grind is what it is. Like, you make it look easy from afar, to be honest with you. And I know it's not. So we want to give you, the respect you deserve, kind of the proper love you deserve because you have worked really hard. And I know it's a short time before you're a head coach somewhere or whatever you want to do. But we're super appreciative, and I'm appreciative as a friend. We've had a lot of great off-the-camera conversations about life and just goals that me and you both have, man. So I'm super proud to call you a friend and super happy. And I wanted to know your why because you're a very charming guy. Like, you could run a bank, you could do anything. And I mean that respectfully. Like, you don't need the grind of, like, working for what feels like pennies sometimes. So I'm assuming your why is very important, and I wanted to lead with that so people that might not know you know how much of a blessing college baseball is with you in it because you can do anything you want. I'm a firm believer that talent is it can do a lot of things, man. So I just want to give you a chance to talk about your why because I know it's going to be important, and kind of just wanted to get that with that before I forgot about it.
Yeah, man. At a deep level, my why, I didn't grow up with the greatest home life or anything, and baseball was always kind of a saving grace for me growing up. I had a lot of friends who took me in their wings, and I stayed over at a lot of friends' houses growing up. And one of those was an old baseball coach whose dad coached our youth team, and baseball was always an escape for me. And I got to continue to play, and I just honestly loved getting on the baseball field and getting away. And so that deeply inside, that's why I always wanted to do things. And then I started probably my junior year playing, realizing, I can't leave this game. I love it so much. I wanted to coach. My senior year playing, didn't have the year I wanted to have. And, I knew I wanted to coach. And so when, Travis Snake and some of those old UAM guys was like, bring it on, come on through to UAM. And then, and even being when I was there, honestly, Coach Harvey asked me the same thing too. Like, why do you even want to do this? Because it turns into a hustle, especially when you're GA your first couple of years. And I want to do the best I can to our players. We have some guys here that I get to know at a deeper level, to be honest with you, than just me coaching them or me helping them out. And I've had to battle my own mental issues and battle some things deep inside with myself, and try to learn how I can overcome those things. And I see it in our players all the time too, and I do my best to help guide them through that as well. I'm not perfect. No one here at SAU is going to be perfect. Our players are never going to be perfect. As coaches, we got to hold them to a little bit higher standard. But I do the best I can to help guide some of those guys through some of those issues that you never know what someone's going through. To be honest with you, honestly, that's a lot of my why. Just trying to make the best I possibly can out of the players that we have, if baseball is going to be their saving grace or baseball is going to be the thing they look forward to every day, I want to make sure that I help create an environment in which they're able to do that every single day and enjoy coming here. And, right now it's SAU and the Mule Rider, so every day you come here to work. But, at a deeper level, that's probably my why.
Well, we appreciate everything you do, and I know I speak for all the players and the coaches at SAU when I say we appreciate everything, and not only professionally but personally. I want to wrap this up. I've been wrapping up each episode with what I call the 5 moments of truth. Moment one is important to me because I feel like you should ask all successful people this. But give me your best advice you've ever received and who gave it to you.
Oof. Oh man, this is kind of tough, man. Kind of tough to go off that one. Best advice. I'm trying to think. Honestly, I was in my 3rd year at Monticello. Probably, I look back to John Harvey a lot because it was kind of one of those times in which I was kind of at a pivot point in coaching. If I was going to continue to do it or kind of move on or do whatever you're going to do, and maybe not advice, but maybe just like a direction. To be honest with you, like kind of what you were saying, the same thing. We're out there throwing batting practice one day, and I'm throwing with the guys, and got a call from another school. And I was trying to figure out if I'm going to stay there, if I'm going to keep coaching or doing what I'm going to do. And he was just like, man, you can honestly be anything you want to be in this game. You can go as high as you want. You work hard. You care about the guys. I would advise you not to do so, not to leave and stay here and just keep going through this. And try, because when you're at a certain point in life, I feel like in coaching you either are like, hey, it's going to be about the money, or is it going to be about what I want to do in life, and if I want to enjoy going to work every single day. So you don't really ever know at some point. And with him, he took me to the point to where it was like, hey, go do this, go stay in coaching, keep going through. And I'm thankful for that, because honestly, too, I probably made that decision because of his confidence. And I'm here probably because of that confidence. So it may not be advice, but maybe more so direction for me, and I'm always thankful for that.
Yeah, Coach is the man. And you hear that a lot, actually, for anybody that's ever met John or played for Coach Harvey. But that kind of answer is going to lead me into this one, and I don't really feel bad for you, but I do with you having to answer this question, because there's no wrong answer, but there is a wrong answer, I feel like. But give me the best mentor you've ever had professionally, and why.
Yeah, I think honestly too, it's not even that big of a deal when it comes to, I could probably go through everybody I've worked for, and I'm only I feel like I'm a projection of everybody I've worked for. You know what I mean? Like obviously I worked for Coach Harvey and all those things that he did for me. I wouldn't be the coach that I am today when he let me fail. At the end of the day, he never lets me fail and just work with the guys and, try to be the best version of myself and learn from that. I'm not that. Coach Curry taught me a whole different side of this thing too. I mean, he entrusted me with a whole lot of stuff, whether it's the office side, the field side. I've never coached on the field before when it comes to the bases, and I was coaching third base at the Division I level, playing the Arkansas Razorbacks at Baum Stadium. He trusted me with that, and taught me a lot about myself there. And then Coach Pettigrew too, now similar to Coach Harvey, and same thing. I may be full time working here as an assistant, but he lets me work every single day. He lets me fail, and he does the same thing, the mentorship under failure and leadership that he has as well. So. I can't really pick one for you, because I'm thankful for all of them along the way, and what they've done for me. But I mean, I've gotten to be with some good ones, I'm telling you. So
such a cop out, but I appreciate it. How did you have to call Coach Harvey and be like, hey, I hate to say this, but I'm going to wear blue and gold over here with Coach Pettigrew?
Oh man, it's kind of funny. I was interviewing for a few places. I was like, hey, if I go coach at SAU, you're not going to hate me, right? Like you're going to still answer the call, or whatever. And he was like, no, that's going to be incredible. There's nothing but respect between Coach Harvey and Coach Pettigrew, and I would be lying if I didn't say I want to beat him with everything I got, because I'm so competitive, right? But he's been awesome too. It's awesome actually coaching against him. That's a whole other thing too, of getting to coach against some of your mentors that I'm thankful for as well.
So we've talked about mentors a lot, and it's easy with the tree you've come from. But give me number 3 is give me the up and coming guy in your profession that is the must watch, the new guy, the guy that has your respect, that the guy that if he said, hey, we need to hire somebody. Who are you putting your stamp on in this profession?
Yeah, there's probably honestly 3 guys. I'm going to say 3 guys. I have 3 guys that I trust really, really well that I would put my stamp on. One, I worked with Christian Reyes over at Little Rock for a while. He's at McLennan Junior College now. One of the most energetic, passionate dudes that I can possibly be around. A really, really good friend to me. I'm really thankful there too. Nick Perano over at UAM. He doesn't get any love. Doesn't get as much love as what he deserves. He works his butt off too. He's in my wedding. He's a really good friend. I'm able to talk to about some of the baseball development side of things with him as well. And then probably third, we have a student assistant here named Kobe Morris who needs love as well. And to be honest with you, I don't think I would be as successful at my job without him right now. He really is like my balance at times. And I feel like we all need that, in the world. You hire, all the guys that you have working for you and working with you as well in the Sticks organization. I'm sure they help provide balance and help, provide the friendship that you need. Kobe's like that too, where he's able to help, push and pull the throttles with me a little bit and help back me down when I need it, or hey, try this with this kid, or even create relationships that, as a full-time assistant that sometimes I can't create all the time too. And, I'm able to ask his advice on practice plans and whatever we need, I trust his opinion and I'll go after his opinion too. So Kobe Morris, another really, really good one, but there are 3 guys right there who, if not just Coach Pettigrew, anybody needs to hire, I would look that way.
And Kobe he's had a good coaching tree too. He played at Crowder, I believe, for Lolly, and saw those guys in Alabama, and then obviously for P at SAU. So it's amazing sometimes those guys that they don't know any better, but they've just been blessed and they don't even know it. They've been touched and they have no idea because it's all they know. So. Guys set the boundaries for him, and I'm sure he'll keep that going for the rest of his career, just like you did. So, number 4 is give me your personal or professional goals for the rest of this year and for 2023.
I'm driven by a lot of different things. At the end of the day, I believe I'm kind of motivated sometimes. I know there's been a lot of SAU greats here that have done a lot of really good things. I'm motivated to create the best offense in the country, to be honest with you. That's my job is to work with the hitters and create the offense and do a bunch of different things. I tell our hitters every day I want to be the number 1 scoring offense in the country. And that's what we're after when it comes to a set goal and a standard, whatever that may be. And to me, that drives me every day to be the best I possibly can for the guys within that too. So it's more of, there's the goal. I know the process to be as good as I possibly can. So if I come to the field and I'm not feeling maybe I'm not feeling great that day or something, I know that's going to drive me to be the best I can for our group of hitters or players in general. So professionally speaking, or maybe standard program, I want to get back to the World Series. And, I want to have the best offense in the country with things that hopefully that I can, control a little bit too on our side. And then professionally, I guess getting the World Series would be professionally in the same light when it comes to the standard there too. So
it's addicting when you get there. Now you'll spend the rest of your career trying to get back.
And I'm telling you, when I was there, I was doing the best I can. Just look down at my feet and go, hey, I'm here. Just enjoy it. You know what I mean? Don't get so caught up in the winning and losing at times. Just breathe this in, because when you play there, I like to think we're going to make it back there every year. Realistically, you're not, obviously, and so you're 100% right in that.
This last question to kind of finish up this interview, one that I've really enjoyed and super appreciative for you to be a part of. But I started this podcast to promote change and to promote my friends and kind of be a part of good. And I know baseball has helped change your life in a positive way. As we start looking at ways to be a part of the change and be a part of the good, give me some advice to anybody listening, or give me, just your kind words of what change means to you and how we can all make this thing a better place as we finish out this year and move into 2023.
Yeah. To me, honestly, care is the number 1 thing when it comes in. That's a deep thing. Like, how do you care? What do you do? And, I think the best way that it was ever told to me was, you never know what someone's going through. You never know someone's battles. You never know, what you could do for someone that day. And so that's the way I try to go about the way that I coach, or the way that I'm around the players, because, we may not perceive as, a failed test as something bad, but they may think it's the end of the world, right? So to them, that's bad. A kid could come up from a bad upbringing, could have a bad day there, could not financially be able to have it. We don't know those things. And so if we don't, take the time out of our day to create a relationship and just care at a little bit deeper level, relationships are everything. So that kid may not, obviously that may be broken, that bond may be broken in that moment. So to me, if we show care and are compassionate amongst each other and the team, and actually, try to build each other up, that player, that person has the, maybe the want to do that to the next person there. And then hopefully that just is a chain that we continue to build. And then you look at the end of it, and then you have a culture. So
it's fun getting older to want to be a part of change and to help people that can't help me back. And I know you probably feel the same way, but it's exhausting trying to think of ways to do it at the same time.
Yes.
It's like a double-edged sword. But
Yes.
Luckily for me and you, we get to change lives every day. We get to impact a bunch of people, man. I know you guys do a great job over there. Super excited for this spring. You got a lot of good players, a lot of six guys on the roster this year. So we'll be keeping up with you guys, man, and hoping nothing but success for you. It's hard becoming friends with everybody in that conference. Coach Eden's kid plays for us, and Coach Hall coaches, and Harvey's son plays. But it's still hard not to root for the good guys because of every friend I have played there. So happy. Kyle Slayton just got inducted into the Hall of Fame this last week.
Yes. Yes. Congrats, Coach. Congrats.
It's crazy.
I was out recruiting. I didn't get to be there. I was kind of disappointed.
Well, I was going to say, we were supposed to be in Florida. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But, I didn't get tickets because I wasn't going to be here. So, when it got canceled, it was, already a packed house for the SAU Hall of Fame. So, it's crazy. Exciting, too. Yeah.
Coach sat in my chair.
I could have. Well, I thought about calling Coach Browning, but I just, I let.
That would have been the guy. That would have been the man to call. Right.
It's one of those things. You're happy, and you just. I tell people all the time, when Kyle pulls up in the parking spot, he's got the Millwright logo on his license plate. You can go to these big schools, you can do whatever, but there's not the DMV is the worst place to go in the world. So to get those special tags to have to go back to pick up, that's a different kind of love for a school now.
Yes.
So it's I know a lot of guys have the blue and gold pride, man. So we're happy for Kyle and everybody else that got inducted this past weekend. Jacob, I really appreciate it as a friend, as a colleague, as a just admirer of what you've done, man. We're super appreciative for you, and obviously, if I can ever help in any way, all you have to do is call. But we're wishing you guys nothing but best of luck this season, and we look forward to keeping up with you guys. And I appreciate you for coming on the Chase Brewster Show today.
Man, of course, I got one thing to add too, man. You say thank you and stuff too. I don't think you realize too, we're going through COVID. COVID just happened. And you're trying to, you're obviously running the Sticks organization too, and getting players to be able to play baseball. I'm at Little Rock at the time, man, and you don't know, we were obviously limited when it comes to being able to make money financially, and I'm a volunteer at the time, so don't really realize the deal of it. And Coach Curry, we have to figure out some ways for the facilities, whatever. But you actually asked me at one point, hey, I'll help you be able to make some money to be able to make ends meet. And as a volunteer where, I didn't have a place to necessarily do lessons. I didn't have camps. I didn't have any way. I was just kind of surviving on my own, my wife working. And she does well. But, when I'm trying to be able to bring in something, you actually help me out in a pivotal time. So I tell everybody, on here, thank you from the bottom of my heart, my family's heart as well. So I owe you a little bit of gratitude as well. So,
well, it's easy to help when it's the right thing. It's something I'd have done tomorrow. Hopefully COVID never comes back. Hopefully I never hear it again. But if it did, we'd help any way we can. And I hate that you guys, unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, Steve Goodhart Field is now turf infield. So we didn't get to have our fall league there, which is probably good for you guys, because I don't think P was happy that our fall league had every single player that was playing in y'all's fall league was now playing in our fall league. But we didn't get to help you guys out in this fall. You didn't get to help us out, with us playing games there. But we're looking forward, hopefully, being back there next year. It's a beautiful complex that'll be even, better in the future with the turf and field and all that. So hopefully we'll be able to help you guys out next year as well. And something I do anytime, man. So we appreciate everything you did at the Rock and everything you'll do for us going forward in Magnolia. And hopefully I'll be over there one day soon. We go to Flying Burger together.
Bring it on, man. Bring it on. We got a Whataburger, Flying Burger. Flying Burger's a spot, but we got everything here. So it's Magnolia's building now.
It's a different time than when Coach Goodhart and those guys were there.
Oh yeah. So
if you need,
thank you very much for having me.
You holler at me, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate you, Chase. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
He conducted himself like a knucklehead on a couple of occasions.